What's happening, cool cats, kittens, and muleys? We're back for another edition of OPD. This time we're going to be doing OPD 2, things the Squadron controls. So a lot of hot button stuff here that appeals directly to officers and how we do things in the Squadron every day. The purpose of this OPD, we really want to show transparency and let you know how the Squadron objectively provides opportunities for growth. We want to give you some perspective so you know what's going on, what to expect, and what's expected of you as part of the Double Deuce. As always, feel free to ask questions in the comments, and we'll provide amplifying data. All right, let's get into scheduling. So, the way this works is there's a training priorities meeting every Monday. It lays out the needs and the wants from training, stand eval, tactics, scheduling, the SARM, ADOs, and DO. For those in training, our FPs, this is where training advocates on your behalf to ensure the right people are getting the right touches at the right time with respect to limited resources. There's also a daily sync between all the schedulers, loadmaster, engineer, and pilot, as well as the SARM and our ground training people to ensure slots are filled and work priorities are laid out for the day. Your schedulers, what they do is they fill locals, sims, and missions, balancing priorities and availability. They scrub currency, and though it's not their job, have to chase down delinquent people. They keep the board updated to forecast upcoming events. The process is overseen by an ADO who provides final checks before signing orders. In short, slots are filled by need, then by want. Priorities are given to things like check rides, upgrades, and recurrency. There's also an assessment of experience, trying to find balance between the pilots as well as engineers and loadmasters on a given mission. There's an equal share of opportunities, but when good deals arise, there's preference for top performers like your quarterly heavy hitter or muley of the year. Where do you fit into the process? Well, the best thing you can do to get on missions is stay on top of your currency and stay flexible so ops can utilize you when they need you. If the schedule calls you to fly and you're non-current or have excuses why you can't go, obviously that's a problem. Stay current, and if there are life events that you do not want to miss, take leave to the maximum extent possible to protect that time. If a currency is coming due, please bring it up. Seek updates from your leadership on your progress and ask for flying opportunities. Just realize there's many factors at play and provide some trust that you're on the radar and not being forgot about. Believe me, you're not. Realize that operations tend to be feast or famine. You'll see many peaks and valleys over time. For our MPs and above, typically schedulers will come to you because you're a high demand, limited resource. I encourage our first pilots to work through their leadership and training as opposed to engaging the schedulers directly. When first pilots hassle the schedulers, they're effectively circumventing the process that is set to ensure fairness in the system and possibly stepping over their teammates. Additionally, you're adding time and distraction to a position that works longer hours than almost any other in the squadron. On a heavy day, the ops team can be at the desk from like 8 a.m. to 6 or 7 p.m. So please be respectful of their time, the system, and your teammates. I'll also say I've heard brought up recently. People say, I want to get on missions, I want to get on locals, but the scheduler hasn't cut. I got to stop you there. It's not the scheduler. The schedulers are the right arm of the DO and the ADOs executing policy. So they execute policy. They don't necessarily make policy. So don't get frustrated with schedulers. There's a system. That's why I encourage you to work through your flight commander, work through training, and we'll get you in the queue and get you going. Moving on to upgrades. Your progress is tracked constantly, way more than, back when I was a first pilot, more than I ever thought. It's tracked by your by training and squadron leadership. At the Monday scheduling priorities meeting, which I mentioned already, members are discussed and scheduled for locals and missions. A squadron training review panel, STRP, is held every month, and that is a deep dive by the squadron's instructors. And when I say squadron's instructors, I don't just mean the pilots. I mean the engineers and the loadmasters, along with squadron leadership, into each member's training and progress. Every name is mentioned. Everyone is discussed. This is where slots are filled for formal training and forecast upgrades. You should receive feedback after each STRP, even if that feedback is, dude, just keep flying, keep doing what you're doing, work on GRAC. You should get feedback monthly. So referencing the Vol 1, you can find the minimum requirements for upgrade. Aircraft commander, 1,000 hours total, 200 to 400 PAI hours, depending on your previous experience, and your MPD phases complete. To IP, 200 PAI, post your MP cert, and foot stomp here, commander recommendation. And then to evaluator, commander recommendation. So the numbers are a minimum. I can't stress this enough. Other factors are taken into account: seniority, maturity, performance, class availability, number of members in upgrade, and training write-ups. By attaining the minimum hours requirement, in no way entitles a member to an upgrade. As we spoke about last week, be aware of the arrival fallacy. Excel where you are, make sure you're ready before upgrading, bloom where you're planted. We often mix pilot progression with career progression, and while they're linked, we should not sacrifice technical quality to fast-track career goals. Don't be in such a hurry to grow up. New qualifications carry greater workload and responsibility you might not be anticipating. Bottom line, be present, available, eager to learn. Master your position while learning the next position as circumstance allows. Solicit feedback. Executing the mission is why we're here, but the squadron realizes that development of its people is key to future success. As officers, you will upgrade, and the timing depends on a lot of factors, as we've described. There's been some consternation in the past about timing, and people wonder why so-and-so got a slot and maybe they didn't. Something I tell my kids is, don't count other people's money. You may feel slighted or that things are not moving as fast as you would like, but I assure you, leadership has a complete picture of the battle space and is altruistic and fair in determining what is best for the individual and for the unit. We want our people to succeed. This leads to squadron success. Having some trust in the double deuce and not going down the path of entitlement, self-centeredness, and whataboutism will pay dividends for you down the line. So, word from our sponsor. I'm going to do something a little different today. As you may know, I spent a couple months in Jordan on deployment here recently, and lemon mints are huge over in the Middle East and Mediterranean. So I got the ingredients over here. You take all these, you throw them in a blender, preferably a Vitamix so you can get a good liquefy on them, and serve. You can get fancy, add strawberries, raspberries. You want to go the leaded route, vodka would go great with this, but 2 cups crushed ice, 4 cups water, 2 lemons, peels and all. Just take the seeds out, but cut in little pieces with the peels on. Lemon juice, a bunch of mint leaves, 3/4 cup sugar. If you like it a little sweeter, use a cup. If you like it a little tartar, half a cup, but I think 3/4 works nice. Blend it real well, strain it. I used a sieve and a scraper to kind of get all the liquid out, and then serve over ice. So give that a shot whilst you're in the quarantine. All right, talk about jobs. Job moves are tracked by the squadron leadership, commander DO, chief pilot, flight commanders, shop chiefs. We meet once a month and have a jobs move meeting and try to forecast, who's going to go where. Plan for a year in a job. We ascribe to a building block approach to increase responsibility as well as develop breadth. Like I said, we hold the meeting once a month. We consider performance, progression, developing expertise, and look for opportunities outside the squadron, group, wing, OSS. Typical progression might be working in a shop, then serve as an assistant flight commander, then flight commander or shop chief. There's no set track. Just be aware of opportunities that are out there. Talk to people in those jobs, and also talk to the people in like safety in the OSS, just to learn what's out there. We talked about this during last Thursday's live meeting, but articulate your career goals to your supervisor and the chief pilot. This is especially true for those in transition flight who will be looking for a job after your 6 months are up. Come talk to us. That's what we're here for. Excel where you are. Again, arrival fallacy. And enjoy what you're doing. Make your area better wherever you are. Also note, I just want to fly is understood. We're officers first, though. The leadership and management skills you gain are valuable down the road and are key to keeping the squadron running. You will fly, you will get on the road, and you will get hours. Don't make the mistake of not growing, not working on your leadership and officership roles while you're here as well. Flying expertise is great, but fair or not, your performance in other jobs play heavily into your eligibility and competitiveness for other opportunities like promotion and special assignments. There was a question as to whether some jobs are better than others. It depends on where you are in your career. It doesn't look good to have a major serving as an assistant flight commander, and as a lieutenant, you're not equipped to perform as the chief of DOV. However, within a year group, all things being equal, some jobs are better in that they may provide more visibility and a higher workload. This, of course, demands higher performance. Flight commander positions, for example, have different functions, number of personnel, and span of control. If a smaller shop is killing it, performing and innovating, but a bigger shop is failing, who has the better job? I'd like to discuss this more on Thursday because it's thought provoking. So thanks, Joel. All right, here's your homework. We're going to have Rumble with Trumbull on Thursday, 23rd at 10 local. What I want you to think about, do you have questions about the process? I know it's kind of hot button. People are just trying to figure out, how scheduling works, how jobs work. So think about if you have any questions about that. What job are you most interested in? Something in the squadron. We'll probably have the person on the line who's currently in that job and can talk to you about it. Do you perceive some jobs as better? What do you think are kind of the blue chip jobs? And we'll talk about that. Are you getting feedback from STRPs? I'm interested in this because feedback is tremendous, and we want to make sure we share information and expectations with everyone. So here's the wrap up. If I was going to give you some words here, reputation is huge in the C5 community because it's so small, but it's a huge player in the aviation world on the whole. It's a very small world out there, and names you see now are names you will literally see for decades to come. It's competitive out there. There are limited resources, but I really want to emphasize with the programs we discussed today some keys for future success and happiness. Don't step over your bros. Don't count other people's money, and realize this is not a zero-sum game. By that I mean just because someone gets an opportunity or on a mission or on an upgrade, it's not a slight against you or you've lost something. More missions always come, there's more training opportunities, and we are part of a team that lifts each other up and cheers each other's accomplishments as a win for the team. This is the mature officer mindset we want to foster. All right, that's the wrap up for the day. Thanks for listening. Appreciate your feedback, and we will see you at the Thursday live version. Peace.